Sure, we've got 60% of our GDP being funneled where? Where exactly? Large financial corporations. Boy, it seems the rich do get richer, but not the rich of the 250,000 kind. We're talking Lehman Brothers, Citigroup. The president is talking about the wrong rich. Tax the rich, said the teacher. Small businesses are not the rich. George Soros is the rich. But I'm sure he thinks everything is fine, right? Because he's helped design a lot of this stuff. Mark my words, America, that financial regulation bill, the framework that the president was just talking about, will trap you, will control you. It will control your business, your job, the one that takes care of the real stuff, like the future of our currency, the operating rules of the House. That's still being designed. George Soros held another global conference that the media ignored, except for Bill O'Reilly. I saw him cover it. It wasn't a meaningless barbecue among friends. This was attended by influential leaders and economists from around the globe. Larry Summers, Paul Volcker were there. They're planning for a new global financial order, and one without the dollar as the standard for the world. Now, wait a minute. How's that possible? How is that possible? Because everything was fixed. They just assured us that it would never happen again. So what are they preparing for? Wait a minute, did I just use the P word? I apologize. They're preparing. What are your neighbors doing? They're preparing. Maybe your neighbors are just upset and outraged at GM. Do you remember we put $50 billion into GM? We had to do that because we had to save jobs. No, we did that to save the unions. $50 billion. Last November, Obama came and touted out their return to the stock market. Here it is.
American taxpayers are now positioned to recover more than my administration invested in GM. And that's a very good thing.
That is a very good thing. So we should get $50 million back as taxpayers. That's fantastic. Or is it billion? It's billion, isn't it? Million. Should get $50 billion back, or $50 billion and one. Wall Street Journal is reporting that the government now is in a hurry to sell off the remaining shares of GM, which they calculate will be a loss of $11 billion. So, but it's only a fifth of what you put in. Where's the outrage, America? What you're seeing is a show. You've got a very, very expensive ticket. You're right in the front row. But let's take a step back now towards the beginning and look at the handiwork of this administration. How's your job? They're making it difficult for small businesses, the main job creators. The Gulf moratorium crushed jobs, kept people from coming back. But we're handing out capes. Maybe you can fly to collect that unemployment check, because you can't pay for the gas. You don't have a job, and gas, fuel, wow, food. They haven't encouraged people to prepare for inflation or stock up on extra food. In fact, they've told us the whole time inflation isn't happening. Well, people are going to need help. Oh, that's right. We have food stamps. More people than ever before on food stamps. Gosh, I wish they would have prepared, huh? Fuel. President's stated policy is to have energy prices necessarily skyrocket. Gas is approaching $4 a gallon, $5 at a D.C. gas station. We told you just a minute ago. Obama, nothing but heard it with a Gulf ban. Jobs and energy. One stroke of a pen. How great is that? And stoking the flames and starting another war in the Middle East. Now let me get down to this. Your money. Because this is really, this represents your work. This is your time. Time is money. You've put a lot of time, some more than others. You may have worked your whole life to save enough of these to retire. Well, now respected economists now say that the best way out of this mess is to inflate our way. We've printed so much money, it's now that we're standing around the Oval Office cheering on inflation. Stimulus, TARP, QE1, QE2, QE, what does that stand for? That's right, quantitative easing. Has anybody asked, what exactly are we easing? Is it the stress on the American people or the stress on the banks? I'm not sure what the banks are stressed out for, because it's pretty clear no matter what happens, the government will bail them out. I think we're easing into a new financial world order. Because for all of our troubles, and they're big, we're still hanging on as the dominant economy in the world. But the redistribution social justice radicals out in the world want to knock us down, take us down a few steps, a few pegs. What is the way to do that? Well, first you have to convince everybody that capitalism is bad, that banks are greedy, Wall Street, that's who's causing the problems. They're making all the money, you're not. You're looking at the wrong bad guys. This is a shell game. The bad guys should be ratted out and fired. There, some of them on Wall Street, some of them in banking, but not all of the bad guys. Banks are good. Let me give you some specifics. Let's sick the Department of Justice, if that actually was anything anymore, on all of the fat cat bankers. The president is calling them fat cat bankers. Let's get them. Let's get the bad guys. Why would we have vigilantes do that? Why do you have unions and thugs doing that? Get the bad guys. That's unpegging from logic and reason to have the thugs go do that. Let me ask you this. Who's giving the money to the banks? Because it's not the Treasury. It's not the Treasury. They don't have any money. They don't have a discount window. Who has the discount window? Who says, here, take the money. Just pay us back and give us some interest? The Fed. The Fed. Bill Gross, the manager of the world's largest mutual fund, said the dollar is in danger of losing 20% of its value if the Federal Reserve continues with quantitative easing. I want to show you what that means. And ask you, is everything fine? Or should you be prepared? Next. There's two choices. Be prepared or everything is fine. One of them is going to be right in the end. Before the break, I told you that Bill Gross, the manager of the world's largest mutual fund, said the dollar is in danger of losing 20% of its value if the Fed continues with quantitative easing. Now, I haven't believed them for a long time, okay? That's why I went out, I bought this gold coin. It's an ounce. When I bought it, it was $670 for this one coin. Put it away. This $670 today broke another record. $1,505. Is that better or worse? I purchased this silver at $15 just around the holidays. $15 for an ounce. It's now $44. Now let me just show you. Here's the difference. Remember, this $670, now $15.50. $15.05. This, $15, and now $44. This, when I worked for this just like you did. When I worked for this, it was worth $1. It's now worth 80 cents. Which, this is everybody is fine. And this is be prepared. Which one do you end up with in the end? Which one leaves you with anything? Be prepared for the world to change. Joe, could you please, these make me nervous, could you please give these to the guy with a gun? Go put them in the bank. We're being taught to hate. We're being taught to hate. And it's a diversion. You got to blame it on somebody. We're being taught to hate the banks and Wall Street, the rich. Well, who's on the front lines of all of this? Because there's no specifics. The rich, the banks, they're not all bad. Francis Fox Piven is encouraging to tap into people's anger, the youth, the useful idiots, swept up, young communist, socialist, anarchist groups. I want to show you some pictures. This is in Olympia, Washington. Anarchists violently protested at a bank, broke a bunch of windows, graffitied the building. We've seen these anarchists in Greece and London wearing hoods and masks while causing violent chaos, shooting paint bombs and light bulbs filled with ammonia at police officers, because banks are bad. Banks are bad. Rich are bad. Let me speak directly to the communists and the youth that are in these groups. I have news for you. You're a dope. You're being used. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to not see this? Do you really think you're on the same side as George Soros? You're on the same side as many of the people in power already. You really think they're going to have use for you in your little black outfit with the hood and the light bulb? Please, please, you're a dope. George Soros isn't a communist. He's not going to institute communism. What do you think they're doing at Bretton Woods? Were any of your communist friends, were they there? Even if Van Jones were president, communism wouldn't be shoved down people's throats. There's too much money at stake. It's just who has the money. And I got news for you. You're not going to have it. They will. So why are they doing it? Why are they telling you? Let me ask you this. Who's winning right now? Is it Soros or the glorious worker? Who's the power going to shift to? The working stiff? Or Van Jones and his buddies, who will profit off the system? Will it be you or the big financial institutions that are screwing you now? Everybody knows about it. Nobody's doing it. The same people who are saying those fat cats are bad aren't arresting them now. Why not arrest them? Why not use the system? I mean, you might get a sweet cape when it's all said and done. You can fly wherever you want to. Maybe you can fly to Cuba. Congrats on that. But the rest of America is in for a bumpy ride. The Black Panthers, whose case was mysteriously dropped by the DOJ, also staging some protests coming up this Saturday. The campaign is a national day of action and unity, and they're urging followers to boycott all non-black businesses. Wait, what happened to the unity talk? And they're looking for rallies, marches, demonstrations, programs, and confrontations, end quote. Maybe the media should look into this. I can't tell you how many days I wake up thinking, I've got to find a good confrontation. Their website says, quote, we are trying to vigilantly taking to the streets, police stations, protests, or projects, courthouses, state capitals, house of racists, morgues, jails, and anywhere our people can be found, and the fight can be found for justice. We'll rattle the enemy and those who are asleep to show to and prove to the world that we are wide awake. Just in case they're still mistaking me for a racist, I do have beware of guard dog signs up around my house. I wouldn't recommend. We told you on this program that they would target banks. SEIU leader Stephen Lerner, that's his dream. It's starting to happen now. We told you that when they got desperate, when it was ready, spring the trap, they would use racist and racism. We've seen that, the Tea Parties with no basis. And now come the Black Panthers, the thugs, looking for confrontations at people's houses or wherever they can cause trouble. You dopes. Communist anarchists, you with your cute little black masks or your little army uniform that makes no sense at all, you are being used. If you think Soros cares about you and your little Black Panther party, please, please. If you think you're going to win against him, please. You're a dope. The rest of America, prepare yourself. Make a choice. They have united forces, the Black Panthers, now lining up with the Nation of Islam. Wait a minute, that's like right here on this board. Can you get this with 6? Radicals, Islamists, Communists, and Socialists, right here. I wrote it. That they would work together to overturn stability and capitalism. Wait a minute. That's crazy talk. Remember? They're not doing that. Except now they clearly are doing that. Buckle up, America. Be a force for good. I'll show you how in the next few minutes.